hate to disturb this outstanding vibe that we're having this morning. In fact, I thought maybe I would just grab the mic and sing, but that wouldn't be as entertaining as the city presentation. So good morning and welcome, and we really appreciate you coming this morning. And again, let's give Craft Hills a round of applause. The vibe in here is always cool, just like this morning. This is Eric. He's the proprietor and our host this morning. So, Eric.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Always an honor and a pleasure to host you. Obviously, hopefully you all have a nice breakfast this morning. If we could feed 120 people every 15 minutes in this business, we'd be in a really good place. But again, thank you so much for your support. All the success we've had over the last year really has come from the community, from the leaders in the community. And there's about 100 faces in this room that have all been incredibly supportive. So thank you guys so much for the ongoing support. And I always get all the accolades, but there's another good-looking man standing behind the bar over there in the top hat. My business partner, Jan, and then Rachel hiding back here or filling up the... That's about it. I couldn't stand up here without them taking care of the business as well with me. So thank you all so much. It's an honor.
Thank you,
Eric. Enjoy breakfast.
Thank you. All right. Just a couple of notes. If you want to get another plate, you can go do that while we're talking. And most importantly, as we get through the introductions and things, halfway through the program, we're going to start broadcasting live when the school district starts. There's a camera back there. So do all your shenanigans now, because once we get started with the filming, you're going to be on YouTube and social media. So if you need to leave before we start the presentation. My name is Gary Clifford. I'm with the Greater West Covina Business Association. That's my part-time job, and my full-time job is I'm your friendly neighborhood trash man with Athens Services. And today we're the presenting sponsor. So if you're with Athens, stand up, say hi. And we're proud to serve the city of West Covina. Just a couple of fun notes. After the Christmas season, Athens picked up 60 tons of Christmas trees from this city, about 4,500 trees actually. We recycled them and reused them. And in 2017, we managed 85,000 tons of waste from this city. And of that 85,000 tons, 65% of that was reused in the market somewhere else. So give the citizens a round of applause. We love Athens for managing all that trash, and we love the police department for the trash we don't manage. Could you imagine in 1923, a group of about 500 people, they woke up and said, we're tired of Covina dumping their sewage in this area. We're going to start a city. And that's basically how the city of West Covina started. So I think Trump was out here the other day and he was talking about building a wall down south. I think there was always discussion about a wall between Covina and West Covina. It never happened. But they did build the 10 freeway. So I think maybe that's kind of a, kind of a line, give or take. There's lots of important people here this morning, and we're going to do a lot of good things. So let me just ask you real quick. If you're an elected official and you're from a city other than West Covina, could you stand up for a minute? Where are you from? Introduce you. Oh, I know who you are, Susan. Introduce yourself.
Susan Rubio from the city of Baldwin Park.
Thank you, Susan.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Brian?
Brian Joe, City of Chino Hills.
City of Chino. We have Chino Hills and Baldwin Park in the house with us. Anybody else? So no Chino Hills or Baldwin Park jokes. Oh.
I'm Lynn Evankamp from Roland Unified.
Thank you very much. All right. City of West Covina. We have lots of important speakers that are coming up here today, but we have a few elected officials. Would you mind standing up for a minute? Take a break from your breakfast. We know these people, but would you each take a minute and introduce yourself for us?
West Covina City Council.
James Homa, City Council.
Lloyd Johnson, Mayor Pro Tem West Covina. Corey Warshaw, Councilman West Covina.
Mike Spence, Mayor West Covina.
Colleen Rosati, City Treasurer.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. Fun fact from all you city council members, who's the first woman city council member in West Covina. Anybody remember? That's right. She was also mayor, right? 1984. Pioneer in the San Gabriel Valley. But here's another trivia fact. Where did she work before she was a councilman in the city of West Covina? City of Covina. She was trying to build that wall. Even though she lived in West Covina, she was trying to build that wall. So in her day job, she was still looking for the sewage plant. And then she ended up being a mayor. I thought that was very interesting. We love those women pioneers. Okay, this morning we are going to have a flag salute and then a nice prayer for us. I was going to open up this morning by saying, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Because we have lots to rejoice in the city of West Covina. Everybody in this room, with the exception of Susan and Brian, oh wait, Brian does, either lives, works, or plays in this city every day. We have lots to rejoice, and I think the mayor and the other important people, the school superintendents, are going to talk to us a little bit about all the good things that are happening. But before we do that, we have a real chaplain in the house. I just play one on TV. We have a real chaplain in the house, and I'd like him to come up. And Dane, would you come up? And the chief of the fire department, Chief Vincent Capelli, if you could come up. You're first, Chief. Come up this way, right around the side. And then Dane, you're to follow.
Caesar. Good morning, everybody. I'm do the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand. I've been practicing, so I hope everybody else has one. Let's get that quick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, I saw everybody's looking past me. So my turn. Okay.
So before I pray, I just wanted to say that when they were talking about who would do this portion of the day, they said we need to find someone that's as charismatic as Gary. And so they called a guy, and he said no. She said, well, at least we need to find someone who's as smart as Chris Freeland. And so they called a guy, and he said no. And so then they said, well, at least let's find somebody that's as good looking as James Toma. And they called him, and he said no. And so then they called me. I said, well, I've told you no 3 times. The least I could do is... We live in a great city. I've lived here for 30 years. I'm really grateful for our city and for all of you and for the portion and part that you play in our city. So with that said, would you bow your heads with me as we pray? Father, we are so grateful that we live in a free country where we have the ability to gather in a place. We are so blessed that we can have wonderful food and be surrounded by wonderful people and in a safe environment. The list goes on and on. As Gary said, we have much to be grateful for. And so today, as we begin our day, we just pause to say thank you and to worship you and to ask your blessing on our time here today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. Very motivating. And you have a new jump, by the way. You did very well. Now, before we get started with the meat and potatoes of this stuff, I just have a couple other facts about West Covina. How many people know why the street Lark Ellen was named Lark Ellen? Anybody here know the story? A famous singer, right? Her name was Ellen Beach Yaw, and they said that her voice, she sang like a... So we have Lark Ellen. You look at that. Look how exciting that is. Now, every time I drive down that street, I'm going to think of her. My favorite football team is the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why I'm one of the few California natives, and I like the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't get it. But who from the Dallas Cowboys and UCLA used to live here? Troy Aikman. This city has a lot of famous people. You can see where my brain's going. Football, famous, there you go. Anybody have any questions or comments before we get started? Anybody want to run and get a plate? Because we're going to turn the camera on here real quick, and we're going to get down to this great presentation. Before we do that, I want to thank some really important people in the room, and those are the people that sponsored this event, because somebody has to pay for breakfast. So I want to thank Athlete Services, Mary and Brian and Ashley. Thank you very much. Andy McIntyre, where are you? Thank you so much for everything that you do for West Covina. Plaza West Covina, the Power Women are in the house today. Stand up and be recognized. MLC Holdings, where are you? Thank you very much. And of course, Craft Hills. And we want to acknowledge the Greater West Covina Business Association members that are in. Could you stand up for a minute, please? There we are, Kim Manning. Lisa. Who else did I see there? Our Executive Director, Monica, where are you? Monica, where are you? There you are in the back. Fernando Trides, where are you? Our Marketing Director. Okay. And Kathy Clark, thank you very much for everything that you do. And Dr. Zach, I saw you. Where are you? There you are. Thank you very much, Dr. Zach. Okay, so we're ready to go live here. The first person that I want to invite up to the podium to do a great job in presenting is Dr. Charles Hinman with the West Covina Unified School District. And one last time, do we have any elected people from the West Covina Unified School District here? I thought, would you stand up, please, and introduce yourself? No? Okay, well, you could do that, sir.
Michael Flower, Board President.
Thank you very much.
I'm a West Covina resident, so I work for the district as well as
Awesome, thank you.
I leave around
Excellent. Thank you very much. Look at, you're well supported today, sir. All right, you ready to rock and roll?
I am, but we have Twitter.
I guess you get the click, or I can go on. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Go on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you for having us. I'd also like to make 3 more quick introductions. Members of the West Covina Unified School District Cabinet are here. Mr. Mike Seaman, Denise Knudsen, and my right arm, Monica Kelly. And left arm. Okay, before I begin, I just want to make note to self. Do not play in a charity basketball game the night before you come to speak the state of the district. I did not think I was going to get out of bed this morning. It's been a while since I've run up and down the court, but Rotary put on a great game last night. Thank you, Rotarians, for raising money for scholarships for the West Covina Unified School District. Great event, first annual, and hopefully we can continue to do that in the future. You know, before I begin, I want to talk a little bit about West Covina Unified and the Covina Valley. You know, having 2 school districts right next door to each other can be a little awkward, right? Because we're going to come up and talk about our district, and then Dr. Sheen's going to come up and talk about his. And, you know, Dick Sheen is a good friend of mine. So, you know, one thing that we said early on, it's not a competition. So I promised him I would not say the best Covina Unified School District today. So that's, oh, I'm sorry, Dick. But one of the things that I think really is important, and it is a, you know, call it a competition if you will, but you've heard me talk a little bit about educational capitalism and how important that is. Because the reality is, times have changed, and now students do have a choice. It's not necessarily the neighborhood school anymore. They're going to go, parents are going to shop around, students are going to shop around, and Covina Valley and Dick keep us honest. And every time he does something great, you know, I clench my fist and say, dang, and then I know he does the same. So it's actually, it makes us better having such a great quality school district next to ours. So that competition piece is important, and it is good. But my charge today, and I think I have 15 minutes to do it, and see, Dick's actually going to be my timekeeper. So if I say anything he doesn't like, he's going to give me the hook, I know. But quickly, West Covina Unified School District, state of the district, we are really doing some amazing things. I'm going to spend most of the time this morning talking about Measure ES, our $143 million bond that the citizens of West Covina passed, and some of the great things that we're doing to make our district truly second to none in the area of facilities. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek of that today. We actually have completed some projects already, and we'll be doing some groundbreaking in short order, and I'll talk to you about that. But first, I don't want to not talk about our charge, which is academics. West Covina Unified has some amazing programs going on. A lot of you have heard me talk about it before. Some of my first presentations to you were conceptual. These are some of the things we're going to be doing academically in the near future. Now it's really just a progress report of where we are. So first and foremost, as you know, we're going to become an International Baccalaureate K-12 continuum. So students are going to be able to be in our district from TK all the way through high school in the International Baccalaureate program. I won't take the time this morning to talk about what that focus and curriculum is, but I encourage you to check it out. It really is a world curriculum. It opens doors and it will allow our graduates to really compete anywhere in the world. So Cameron and Orangewood, two of our elementary schools, are now authorized International Baccalaureate primary schools. So that's piece one. Piece two is the MYP, Middle Years Program. And Edgewood Middle School has just been approved to apply. It's a 2-year process, and they've been a year and a half in. So the IB organization has just approved Edgewood Middle to apply. We expect that accreditation in the fall. And then, of course, that goes right up with Edgewood High School's diploma program, which is the third piece, which will then be our official K-12 IB continuum. We're very, very excited about that. We will be the only K-12 continuum in Southern California. So really going to put a mark on West Covina. Monte Vista and Orangewood, you heard me talk about dual immersion several years ago. We now have it at 3 levels. TK, kindergarten, first and second, 4 levels, excuse me. And now we're moving into third. I know Mayor Toma's daughter is in our dual immersion program, and I encourage you to come by and visit. It's really amazing if you think about it. Matter of fact, I was just talking to someone yesterday, a girl from Mississippi. My daughter went to Mississippi State, and she was complaining how she took 4 years of Spanish in high school and can't speak a word. And unfortunately, probably the majority of us in this room, many of us in this room, had that same experience. You took the foreign language in high school, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then now, several years later, you barely can acknowledge a welcome. Students who participate in the dual immersion, by the time they leave 6th grade, will be bilingual and biliterate, and that is a language they will carry for the rest of their lives. So it's a phenomenal program. I encourage you to come visit it. Again, we'll be moving into the 3rd grade next year. Our K-5 reading initiative is now into the 4th grade. So we've started in K-3, moved to K-4. Next year we'll move to K-5. The philosophy is easy. Reading is the roadmap to everything. It is the gatekeeper of college, it's the gatekeeper of high school. If you can't read at grade level, you're not going to be successful. So our board has dedicated a significant amount of funds, energy, and time into ensuring that all of our elementary students read at grade level. So they all have a one-on-one device. We have reading specialists that work with students, especially if they fall below grade level. And the idea is by the time they get to 9th grade, they'll all be reading within, at the least minimum, the 8th grade level. If you go talk to a 9th grade biology teacher and you ask them what is their biggest struggle, is trying to teach a class when the reading levels are everywhere from 4th grade to 10th grade in a 9th grade class. It makes it very, very difficult, and we see the results. So our commitment there is moving forward. Next year, we're hoping to move this one-to-one device to the 8th grade. Each year we add a year. So we're all the way through the 8th grade next year. I spoke about the IB diploma program. We started the AP Capstone Advanced Placement Program at West Covina High School. That is very similar to the IB diploma program. Students who take the AP Capstone go into take 2 additional classes of the AP. They get a separate diploma, and again, when it comes to college resumes, that goes a long way. It really separates them. This will be our first graduating class this year. And I think we'll have, Tristan Graham has how many graduates this year?
This year they're going to have a full class of
30 diplomas, which is just really, really phenomenal. And then lastly, we have dual enrollment with Mount SAC. Now, dual enrollment is where Mount SAC will come into our high school. They will teach a class, biology, counseling, and math, so students can actually take a college class at the high school and get dual enrollment. So they'll get the high school credit and college credit, so when they leave there, they'll have some credit and they're on their way at college. So now I'm going to shift gears really quickly to Measure ES and our bond. We have several projects. As you can see, this is our solar project. Over the next 20 years, the West Covina Unified School District will offset $20 million in what we would normally pay out to Edison. So we have a savings of $20 million after our initial investments paid back. This is Edgewood High School. It's one of our biggest farms, if you will, of Edgewood. It's already in. We haven't officially flipped the switch yet. We'll be doing that in the early fall. This is an example at Cameron Elementary School. You can see where this is an example of where we're putting solar at the elementary schools. By the way, it's a great curriculum too. Our students are getting involved in learning about green energy and how that process works. Over the summer, through Measure ES, all the elementary schools received brand new playground structures. We made a commitment to the community that if we passed ES, we would already have plans in place so they would see their votes immediately implemented. So the board put aside the money, if it did pass, that we can immediately do the playground structures, start the solar and the athletic field at Edgewood High School, which I'll show you. And that's a night view of the Edgewood field and track. It's up and running, and the district office is directly across the street, and I can tell you, from the time I get there until late at night, there is somebody already on that field. It's really, really amazing. We do leave it, our board is very, very passionate about leaving it open to the public. So in the evening, it's open access to walk the track. We just ask that they don't walk in the first lane all the way around every time, because you wear out the lane. But other than that, public is welcome to participate. This is really exciting. We're breaking ground this summer. As you see, we already have the field and track coming. We also have our next groundbreaking will probably be in July, and that will be our 50-meter pool. We're putting in a Mirtha pool, which is an absolute state-of-the-art pool, and the architects put together a nice flyby that I can show you now.
Looks good.
Or not. Thanks, Dick.
Ours will have water in it.
Oh, I just had it. I'm going to get this. Dick, if I have to stand here for 45 minutes, I'm going to get this. There we go. We'll be redoing our tennis courts next door. We'll be redoing our softball, baseball fields. There'll be a couple glass basketball courts lit in the back with resurfaced basketball courts. Oh, the lights came on. So very exciting. It's going to be really a place for the entire community, and our children will be able to train, work out, and play in really one of the most premier pools, I think, in Southern California when it's all said and done. I'm even laying claim that we'll have at least some Olympic trials there, and water polo and whatnot. Then Edgewood High School Event Center. So this is a multi-purpose facility, and I'm going to move quickly through it, but our CTE video game design classroom will be in there. We have a beautiful, wonderful IB dance studio. If you haven't been to an Edgewood IB dance performance, I highly recommend you attend. It's literally sold out. It's in the gym. They do one in the fall, one in the spring. And they basically their dance focus is cultural. So they'll pick a piece from different cultures throughout the world, and they'll practice and then perform these dances, and it's just phenomenal. We actually recruited an IB dance teacher. That was her background, and that's what she did. This is, I'm not going to go all the way through this, but this is the flyby of the, well, no it's not. Dick, don't say it. Okay, why did the other one start and not this one? Oh, there it goes, weird. I'm going to cut this one half through. It's somewhat long, and the first 5 seconds are somewhat anticlimactic, but you'll get a better view. So there you can see what it's going to look like inside theater production. There'll be a stage, there'll be an NPR. We're going to use this for our teacher training as well. They'll actually have a smaller theater. Of course, we'll talk about theaters here in a moment. It'll be located directly across the street from Orangewood Elementary. And this will, by the way, will be, if you picture it, this is really going to be the prime K-12 IB continuum. So you'll have Orangewood, and will feed right into Edgewood Middle, which is right into Edgewood High School, and it's all going to be focused on International Baccalaureate. And then look, the lights come on. And that's going to be a beautiful structure. And again, it's funny, I drove by down Cameron when they were just pulling down the last of the bleachers at West Covina High School. And ironically, I thought, oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't say this, but how many years we've been putting people in those stands. So, it's it, I mean, boy. But, so, good move. Again, I commend our board for making the decision to completely restructure the stadium at West Covina High School. That's a view of the home side, and you'll see we're going to redo the snack bar, bathrooms as well. We're looking forward to that. You know, politically, it was tough because, you know, it takes time to do it. The board had to make the decision, do we move graduation and have football season, or do we have graduation and not have football season? So there's no right answer, but the decision was to move our graduation, and thank you to the Walnut Unified School District. They're allowing us to have our graduation there. But it will be up and running and ready to go for football season. Okay, I'm going to go really quickly through here because we don't have the final designs, but I want you to see the next two buildings. The one on the left will be our new theater, 600-seat theater at West Covina High School, and on the right you will see the Science CTE building. We're hoping to break ground next year. This is a mock-up, so I don't want you to think that's what's coming. This is just one of the many options that we're looking at, but that is an idea of the size of what the new theater is going to look like. And this is a pretty good, we're getting close to what the corner is going to look like. So as you come down Cameron and you just go past Fernwood, you'll see this rolling structure, which will be our Science CTE wing right on the corner. It's just gorgeous as you come down. And then as you move on down Cameron, you'll have the theater to the right. The theater and the science wing will be tied together, so there'll be this ongoing facade down to the end. So no matter how you approach West Covina High School, from the east or the west, you'll have incredible curb appeal. Now the big news. This is a surprise. We're opening up a new high school next year. It's the Mount Sac Early College Academy. We've been in negotiations with Mount Sac for 8 to 10 months now, and basically students will be able to attend Mount Sac Early College Academy, and I won't go into depth except to hear this. Students who graduate from Mount Sac Early College Academy could graduate with up to 40 college credits towards high school. They could actually receive an AA and a high school diploma at the same time. We're very excited about that. And I'm just going to put a dollar figure on it. There will be some of these students who will go to some East Coast schools and maybe USC that could cost families, you know, up to $80,000 for 2 semesters. That will be taken care of. This will all be transferable credits. So you'll have kids that will be going in as a late sophomore into these prestigious schools and save all of that tuition. So we're really excited about that. Ribbon cutting is today at 4 o'clock. It's at the old Rio Verde campus, but it now has a new name. the Mount Sac Early College Academy. So very excited about that, and I'm going. There's our first little sign. We'll be doing a lot of curb appeal over the next 18 months, but we had to have that up today for the ribbon cutting. And I'm going to close with that just to say we're going to continue with Measure ES with field enhancements and district-wide classroom modernization. So that's the state of the Westview Unified School District. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. We're clapping because now you have Saturday school for exceeding your 15 minutes. And we hope that Dr. Sheehan takes note of that. Real quick, we have a couple other West Covina important people. Mike Toohey, one of our former mayors. Mike, you didn't stand up. Stand up. And then we have our police captain, Richard Bell, in the house. Stand up, please, representing the police department. How many people know who the latest addition to the patrol division of the West Covina Police Department, who it is? Anybody in here know? What's the K9's name? Rye. We have a new dog. Name is Rye. That's awesome. There's a foundation, I think, for the dog program. So if you have any questions about that foundation, at the right there, Ashley, stand up. You can see Ashley. I think she's on that foundation board. And you can talk to her about Rye or the new patrol officer who is called Officer Asidi that actually manages Rye. That's kind of a lifetime job. You get the dog and then the dog retires and the dog's part of your family, so it's a very interesting thing, all right? So our next presenter, come on up, is from the Covina Unified School District, Dr. Richard Sheehan, otherwise known as come on up. To you the coveted clicker.
Thank you.
All right, there you go.
Oh, no, George's not there.
You're running it.
All right.
You gotta go all the way through it, maybe.
What's convenient?
Yeah.
Don't look. That's all the time you're gonna have left, Mike, by the time he's done.
All right, I guess ours didn't make it in.
Sabotage.
Sorry, Dick.
Sorry. That's what happens when you do things on time.
It's gonna be much less than 15 minutes.
Yes. I need to grab my slide. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
We're gonna take it off. We'll have it here in a minute.
Yeah, it came from Bridget's
It came back last week. Don't get it. Try not
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to work on the clicker?
I'll yeah. Restart it. Negative.
Mr. Maddox, my apologies if I remember
It's a blur, I'm sure. How's the campaign going?
You can just roll it up. Yeah, we're fine. All right, I just want to thank the Greater West Covina business. We appreciate it. Had you been successful in building a wall, you wouldn't be able to be here this morning because we're on the wrong side of the 10. Yeah, so we are in the South Hills attendance zone of Covina Valley. One quick note I did want to start with is education funding. And Governor Brown loves to tout that the local control funding formula will be completely funded by the end of this year. Now what that means is we will be where we were in 07, 08. So it is not new money. We are actually getting a restoration of monies we once had. And so that's one of our frustrations, is the message from Governor Brown is that education's quote unquote fully funded, but we're not. And if you look at our funding, unfortunately, we are in the bottom 5 when you look at the ratio of administrators, counselors, librarians, all the support personnel. We're in the bottom 5 in the nation. We have the 6th largest economy in the world, but we're in the bottom 5 as far as our ratios in funding. So that's pretty pathetic. So that's my little political plug for the day. Want to do some quick introductions. Daryl Myrick is on our Board of Education. He's a former West Covina PD for 38 years. We have Sonia Fresquillo. She is one of our board members. Robert McIntyre is my Chief Business Officer. And our principal from South Hills High School, Dr. Matt Dalton, is here. All right. Student safety. Obviously, this is huge right now. And so, unfortunately, and this is one of the hardest decisions we had to make, is we enclosed all our campuses. But we did spend the extra money to make sure we did a good job with it and made it very attractive, because if kids don't feel safe on campus, there's no learning that occurs. And so this is paramount for us. We have put in state-of-the-art camera systems, and I do want to put a huge plug in for Naomi Wiley. She's our resource officer at South Hills High School. She's phenomenal. And want to thank Chief Taylor, and our relationship with West Covina PD couldn't be any stronger. We're very fortunate to have 2 great cities to work with, West Covina and Covina, and they are very responsive to our needs, and just want to make sure we thank them enough. We will be doing a joint active shooter training at South Hills. We're in the process of doing that, and that's just sad that that's the state of where we are. And yesterday we had kids across the nation speak up to end violence on schools. And one of the best quotes I saw is one of the students commented on how well the students are working together, unlike the adults. Well, it's true. And so as we become more polarized as a nation, less and less gets done. And you have to go back to the days when we all worked together. All of our administrators have gone through CERT training. So they are all been through the emergency, and want to thank LA County. If we get to our bond facilities, on the left, you have the PA at South Hills. I will tell you, fortunately, our community passed a bond several years ago, and our facilities are phenomenal. And so if you walk onto any of our campuses, they look great. In the middle, you see our Mary Haynes Center. It's our professional development center. It's also our boardroom. Mary Haynes unfortunately just passed away. She had been a board member for 35 years. And she's a great lady and did a lot for our community. You'll notice at the bottom our new pool at Northview High School. It does have water. Okay. We are a 1-to-1 district, so every one of our students has a laptop or a Chromebook, and then the bottom shows you the beautification. So one of our jobs is to prepare kids for their future, and their future is changing dramatically. If you look at the last decade alone with technology and the advancements in technology, okay, how do you keep up? Okay, so our job is to prepare kids. So we have gone to coding or computer programming, and we offer coding in 7 of our elementaries. We will pick up the other 2 elementaries next year. It's in our 3 middle schools. It's also in our high schools. And so by 2020, we will be coding every day, every kid. And we believe very strongly that when kids get a certification, so we have partnered with Cisco and Microsoft, and so kids are getting A+ certifications as well as cybersecurity certifications, Microsoft certifications. Okay, we're preparing them for their future. And they will actually have the opportunity, if they choose, if they go through the whole K-12 with the coding. Think about it. We have 4-year-olds learning how to do Scratch. So they're coding at 4, then we're going to do the Python in middle school, and in high school they'll do the Java. Now we're also partnering with Cal Poly Pomona, and similar to what Chuck's doing, we're looking at bringing Cal Poly Pomona professors on campus to help teach the coding because it's going to be so advanced. And our kids will take the AP Computer Science probably in 9th or 10th grade, which is putting them 3 years ahead, meaning we're going to have 3 years of college courses just in coding to give them everything that they need. It will be at Mesa next year. STEM is significant across the board. Everybody's making a big push for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's a priority in every district. I do want to acknowledge Chuck and I have a great working relationship, and want to thank Roland for being here because Julie has a great working relationship with all of us. We're very fortunate enough that all the superintendents in the area are all pulling in the same direction to try and make what's best for kids. Okay, because that's what we're all about, is doing what's right for kids. If you want to roll up, we have done Mandarin dual immersion at Mesa. We also have Spanish at Manzanita, and we should be a bilingual nation. And so if you look at it, you go, my son's studying abroad currently, you go talk to kids in Europe and they all know 2 and 3 languages. I worked in Glendale for 5 years, well actually 8 years, 5 as superintendent. Most of the secretaries, we have a large Middle Eastern in Glendale, most secretaries speak 3 to 5 different languages because that's common. It's common throughout the world, just not in the United States. And so one of the things we're doing in both districts is preparing our kids for a global economy, because that's huge. We were fortunate enough, we're expanding our arts throughout. We just learned last week, Trawick Middle School, which is in West Covina, just got a $25,000 grant from the Hollins Opus Foundation. And so we have approximately 300 kids in music and choral at Trawick. So we're truly trying to expand all of our music programs. We've hired a new choral director at South Hills and Sierra Vista, and we're going to be doing a show choir within the next 2 years at South Hills, and she's doing phenomenal work. So very exciting. South Hills High School. So we'll go, oh, I'm sorry, let me stay here real quick. We are partnered and expanding it to the high school, but currently Trawick has the Femineers, and that is female engineers. And basically they partner with Cal Poly Pomona, and that is going to expand into our high school, Covina High, next year, because we have a whole engineering strand. And so we are fortunate enough to have 3 high schools, and each of the high schools kind of have their own pathways. One of the exciting things going on is we're actually going to send 16 kids to the march in Washington, D.C. on the 24th. Northview's Fame Academy Film, Arts, Media, and Entertainment has a partnership with PBS. And they actually shoot video for the NewsHour. And they are going to be giving the kids' perspective on the March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. that will be aired nationwide. They've already done 2 or 3 pieces that have aired nationwide. Some of the kids from South Hills and Covina will be running a live blog. We're looking at doing a live stream. We're trying to make it educational for the kids as they go through this. Then they're going to come back, they'll present to the school board as well as to some of our community events. So I want to thank Andy McIntyre, and the McIntyre group was very instrumental. They donated about $6,000 worth of miles to help pay for the kids. So thank you, Andy. I'll clap for you later, Andy. Okay, South Hills High School. This is their new arts quad. So as the school is expanding and going through, very cool new area that they've created. And basically they've put images of artists on one side of the wall, and then on the back side they have some of their famous quotes. They have a new program called Virtual Enterprise, so the kids are creating businesses, business plans, and then they're competing on the state level, up and down the state of California. We have started a culinary arts program. Once again, love Cal Poly lately. We're partnering with their hotel, restaurant management, hospitality. So what we are doing with the district field and the Haynes Center is we're going to get to the point where the kids at South Hills will do all the catering at the district field. Okay, and so we'll be putting out a business plan. As we talked about, they have a huge computer science pathway program. It's only going to get stronger as we go because of video game design and the art wing. They just had the South Hills Light Up the Night. Okay, I challenge you to see a more beautiful campus at night than South Hills. It truly looked amazing. They do a great job. One of the things that we're very proud of, EdSource, which is a state-run, recognized Covina Valley, because we have a 97% graduation rate with Latinos, which is one of the highest in the state. It's about 20 to 25 points above the state average. Additionally, South Hills has about 65% of their kids that are qualifying for the A to G, which is the minimum requirements for the UC. Upcoming projects. So we are, and want to thank the cities of Covina, West Covina. So you have Covina High School on the right, which is in the city of Covina, and you have Trawick Middle School, which is in the city of West Covina. And they are separated by Armel, which is a little street that runs between. So we're working with both cities to try and create a safer situation, because we are going to put in a brand new sportsplex. We're hoping, like West Covina, we lack green space in our cities. And so Bonita and San Dimas have put in city-sponsored sports facilities. So we're trying to bring one to Covina that will rival theirs. We're putting in an Olympic-sized pool as well. So combined, perhaps we will get some of the pre-Olympic stuff in 2028. But we've already contacted and are working with CIF to make sure it meets their standards so we can host some of the events for our CIF Southern section. The track is already in the football field. We will be looking eventually to put lights and make the baseball field more into a baseball stadium with lights and it'll be a district field. You will have 2 new softball fields, which are on the Covina High side. At Trawick, we'll be putting in a brand new soccer field as well as a lower level baseball. And then we'll create parking and a free walkway so kids can get back and forth. So basically, we're creating one large campus. Properties, currently we have surplus properties, and we are in the process of moving those surplus properties. Been working very closely with the city of West Covina. I want to thank Chris. We have successfully done a property swap for our business center, which is over by the district field. We currently are going to be putting out an RFP for Griswold Pioneer and Vincent's Children's Center. So we've held a lot of community meetings. We've received their input. And so we're coming out with a new RFP that's going to be sensitive to the community's desires. Okay, it'll say no apartments. We got that loud and clear from everybody. And so our board wants to acknowledge our community, okay, because our community doesn't go away. And we like to have a great working relationship with our community. Partnerships. Want to thank Tony Wu and the School Shop program. That's up and running. We have great working relationships with our Rotaries. Code to the Future works with our K-8 students, and they help train all of our teachers to be able to teach the coding. And so we actually have a code teacher embedded into all the schools. We are currently writing a grant with Cal Poly Pomona, and it is for staff development to retrain teachers. It'll be a multi-million dollar, well, over $1 million grant to train our teachers. Codesters is a group we're working with in the middle schools. They have a big push for the Python. Cisco, we have the Cisco Academies, code.org. Want to thank our 3 local universities, and I believe West Covina has the same thing, and maybe Roland to a certain degree. They've reached out to all the local districts and have done memorandums of understanding. So if our kids meet the minimum requirements, they automatically get in, and at Laverne and APU, they automatically get a $10,000 grant. So we're very happy and have reached out. And we're one of the few districts that was in Google and did a lot of training under Google, but with the coding and the needs for the future, we've had to migrate back to Microsoft. So Microsoft has been a very willing partner with us, and so they have provided us with a lot of staff development and a lot of opportunities that other districts don't get that benefit our kids. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank the Greater West Covina. Have a great day. And like Chuck, I am a fellow Trojan, so we do push kids in that direction, as Dr. Dalton is as well. And Robert's in the doctoral program at USC. So fight on.
And I'm not a Trojan. I actually am a professor at Azusa Pacific University in my part-time life. And we get a lot of these great students that come from the Covina and West Covina Unified School District. It's a great partnership, and some of the brightest students do come from the San Gabriel Valley area. And we know they're bright because they're smart enough not to become elected officials, right, when they get out of school. They go out and make some real money. So that being said, we're really here for the business opportunities in the state of the city and the city of West Covina, and it's my true pleasure to introduce to you the current mayor of the city of West Covina, and that is Mike Spence. Mike, could you come up, please? We promised to get your slides up here, and the clicker just left me.
I have it.
Oh, he's gonna click for you. There you go. Good luck, Mike.
We're good. Does this come out?
You're gonna walk around. There you go.
Yeah, if I was a student, I'd be on Ritalin or something. If I was in schools right now, they'd say I had ADD. I like to walk around. I'm Mike Smith, the mayor. I'd have to do some disclaimers first, just so you know. Anything I say that you don't like, it does not reflect on the other city council members. That's something that's very important. I found that. You see, they all agree. Yeah, I agree. And you know, I've been really blessed because I was born in Queen of the Valley, and so West Covina has been my town. My dad taught high school here. Many of you know that. My mom sold more Avon than probably anyone else. I was in a car accident. The lady says, "Oh, you know, I know your mom. I buy Avon." It's been a great opportunity to. It's a privilege to be mayor, but it's been a great opportunity to be here and have my family here and grow my family here. And I'm very happy about where West Covina is. And the last thing I want to say though is, with everything going on, I need to give everybody a trigger warning. I don't do trigger warnings. I just say things, and so I'm going to go have it on YouTube so you can prove I said it. But that's just the way I roll. That's the way I roll. So first, if we can start a little bit, I want to tell you where we are fiscally in West Covina. You can see our budget there. We spend a lot of money. We've taken about $121 million. Most of that's sales tax, property tax. You can see how that's on the slides there. And we try to spend all that money. And we spend it on lots of things, mostly public safety, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I'm showing you that because I just want to give everyone perspective, because I know this. I was on the school board in West Covina Unified for 22 years. And by the way, there's no competition with Covina Valley. We're way ahead of it. But it was never close. It was never close. And I should acknowledge Daryl Myrick, because he actually worked for West Covina Unified, because he was my swim coach and got to see me in Speedos every day. So that was good. But, yeah. So, but anyways, you know, because everybody, you know, how many times does someone come up to you and say, you know what the city needs to do? You need to build this. Oh, that'd be great. That's wonderful. You know, yeah, we have a lot of money put aside just for that one reason. You know, that's the only thing going on, what you want. And so it's very important that people understand the perspective of where we are financially in the city and school districts. So that's that. And the next slide, please. Here's some of the things we did. We paid off a lot of our debt in West Covina. In 2013, you can see some of the accomplishments there where we, one of the important things we did was we finally eliminated retiree medical benefits. We were able to negotiate that out of all the union contracts. You know, a lot of things going on with unions, and you know, people say, "Oh, just change this, change that." There's state laws, there's negotiations, there's all kinds of complications in that. But our employee groups were working with us, and so we don't do retiree medical benefits anymore. That was something that was costing us a lot of money. We've increased the number of police officers, and we're going to talk a little more about public safety. You know, everybody got up here and talked about the walkout yesterday at school and that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, you know, public safety is important. And if public safety had acted properly, you know, 45 times, we wouldn't be having walkouts, you know, at our schools. Anyways, we increased the number of authorized police officers, and we got to find the money to continue that. One of the things that's not up there that's important is that the council approved 5-0, working with having an officer assigned with the marshals to do fugitive and to work with the different federal agencies to make sure that those hardcore criminals aren't in West Covina, and if they are, we find them and we get rid of them. And that's something that's very important. And the council approved that 5-0 at our last meeting. That one's not up there, I don't think, is it? No, it's not up there. I don't have my glasses on. We had a bunch of capital improvements. And I want to tell you a little bit about capital improvements and roads. You know, there's a scale for roads, and we're receiving a lot of money from the state and Measure M and different things with roads. And in West Covina, our roads are cited at a 79. And that doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? They say the optimal is 80. So we're just in there, 79, 80 on how we keep our roads up. And to give you some perspective, Ventura County's a 71, Riverside County's a 71, Covina, 71, Baldwin Park, 70. So we are doing a good job in West Covina, and not just our council, but the previous council, in dealing with the roads. One other thing on the accomplishments that out there, we're going to approve finally, we had a state audit in 2013 when some new council members got elected, and what was it, we We had 79 things that were found, and we were doing 72 of them right. Woo! No, 72 of them were wrong. We did 7 right. We were doing 7 right. They had 72 different things they had problems with, and we've completed all those, and will in the next month or so finally finish every recommendation that they had given us or dealt with it in some manner. So that's good. So that's something that's very important, and that's part of why we're broadcasting this today, because we're trying to be more transparent, but not only more transparent, but more accountable, so that people know. I mean, it's great to be transparent so people know how they're getting screwed, but it's more important that people have input and have understanding and are able to hold people accountable. So the other thing is we focus on small businesses, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But we have a business assistance program, and if you're interested in participating in that, Pauline, you can talk to Pauline in the back. If you have a small business that may need loans or assistance, she can help you with that. Anyways, next slide, please. CalPERS. You guys like pensions? You know, the good news about the new canine dog, no pension obligations. That's the good news about that. CalPERS, there's some numbers up there. We're going to have a community meeting on April 5th to try to explain to people the CalPERS situation. The bottom line is CalPERS and some decisions made by the state and also by the city council in participating in giving benefits to people that didn't put money into it. And it's not just our city, it's every locale did that in the state of California. It means that the state needs more and more money to keep up with pension obligations. And you can see that 61%, how many, the biggest thing I thought here is down here, that for every retiree, you know, how it keeps going down the number of employees that are supporting that. And this is becoming a critical issue. We're at the point in West Covina, it's cheaper to pay someone overtime than to hire an employee because of all the benefits and the extra obligations that are on that. And the real serious thing is if you're someone that really loves government doing lots of stuff, they won't be able to do it because they're going to be doing pension obligations to people that aren't working anymore. And so it's, and counselors actually, I was just remembering, counselors has the same thing in school districts. They have the same kind of issue when they're dealing with the STIR system as well. There's been a huge increase in the number of people, counselors getting over $100,000 pensions. And so it's something that this is an important issue, and we're having a community meeting on it, so we can have a discussion, so people can understand where we're coming from and where the system's at. Next slide, please. This is capital improvement. This is the streets that I'm showing you. Next, that's Baldwin Park to the left. No. Or Covina. But we do a good job on our roads. So, but if you see something, please let us know. We have a mobile app you can report things through that you can download on iTunes or the Apple Store or the Android Store, and you can report things like that on roads. But we do a good job in West Covina dealing with roads. Next, please. There's another one of our capital improvement projects, sewers. It's amazing how much money we have to spend on capital improvement stuff all the time, and we've been working on those. Next slide, please. Yeah. The housing stats, we have some, I was sitting next to a developer that wants to develop a bunch of stuff in our house, but we've had next to my parents' house. But West Covina is mostly made up of single family residences, and there's been a lot of what's called infill, and these are some of the projects that have recently been approved, and are they on the market? Yeah, they are on the market, I can't see them. City Ventures is on the market, right? Is that all sold out? Oak Creek is sold out, I think, right? Huh? All sold out? And so there is housing being built in West Covina. There's this whole issue about affordable housing, and I don't know what affordable housing is. I guess, if you can afford it, you can live in it. But everybody hopes their house doesn't get more affordable when they want to sell it. They don't have that. But yes, as you can see, home prices continue to grow in West Covina, and we continue to grow as well. But we have other projects that are in the works, and if you could do the slide, next one. This is that building, Merrill Gardens, it was just given an award, just so you know what's going to go. It's a 5-story building, 111-unit assisted living that was approved under the new downtown general plan at West Covina Parkway and Sunset, where the dental building was. I know there's the old Home Federal building across from there. Clearly, there's a market for assisted living because there's another one being worked at on Sunset. So I know I have some place to live in West Covina. But yeah, so that's going in, and so you'll see a lot of changes because of the downtown general plan, where you'll see more buildings like that. Next slide, please. Here's some of the stats. A lot of new businesses, and people make fun of me, because we were doing all these, ground openings for restaurants and stuff like that, and asking like, wow, now you're focusing on restaurants. There's been a change in the retail industry, the combination of things like Amazon and the internet, but also a lot of retail companies in a lot of debt that can't seem to keep up with that. Toys R Us is closing. So you've seen a focus in the retail industry that's changed towards eating. That's a trend I like, don't get me wrong. But it's you'll see that we have some new companies that have come in. The Del Taco that replaced the old Wiener Schnitzel. The Poke Joint, America's Tire is open. And that area looks much better now too, that those businesses are there than it was previously. After's Ice Cream. How many of you have been to After's? McIntyre Square? That is a great place. Donut ice cream. Good stuff, good stuff. We have some businesses that are coming in. Of course, everybody knows about Porto's. Everybody know about Porto's? They sell 2 million potato balls a year. 2 million potato balls. And it's going to be a great addition there. We're glad it's not the Crazy Horse, there anymore, the strip club that was going to be there. I always say, pastries, not pasties. So this is going to be a great place. It's going to really help that end of the mall. We also had Bosty Grill. We had the groundbreaking for that. How many of you see the Silver Dragon? Anybody? When was the last time you ate there? Yeah, that's the problem. So the Silver Dragon, Silver Dragon closed, and Bosty Grill, which is an Argentine steakhouse. It's a great place. They'll be opening in June. No, late summer, right? So late summer. No, I committed them to September. Summer, right? Yeah, and hopefully we'll have Porto's open by November, before the election. And just so you know, Porto's, people ask about Porto's, why it's taking so long. There's some special things with that land underneath. Porto's an interesting company. They don't take on debt. They bank all the money. And so, you have to have the money in order to buy the land, money to build it. That's how they do it. They wait if they don't have it through the cash flow. Dunkin' Donuts is the soft opening is going to be. Dunkin' Coffee, that's really what it is. But no, Dunkin' is going to be, Baskin Robbins is going to have an official opening in April, but they're going to start opening on the 20th of this month if you want to go by there now. Before that, Tow Industries, that's a manufacturer of tow trucks. It's going to be in West Covina. That's a good addition as well. And I know McIntyre Square. Andy? You want to tell people what restaurant you're going to sign a contract with today? Can I tell them, or can you tell them? No? Anyways, there may be a restaurant coming to West Covina that Andy may be able to tell us after today. So we are attracting new businesses to West Covina, and we're grateful we can have those. So some other things I wish I could tell you, I really do, that are coming and that are being worked on. Next slide, please. Of course, Porto's, talked about that. Just look at how big that is. This is going to be the second biggest one. The Buena Park one's the biggest location. At Buena Park, there are people that wait, an hour and a half to get into it on the weekend now. That's longer than rides at Knott's Berry Farm in order to get into Porto's and to give Porto's their money. So that's going to be, go by there if you get the chance. Again, it's on the Sunset side. On the weekends, it's going to be horrific, but it's going to be awesome at the same time. So if you can see, it's going to give us about $80,000 in tax revenue. That's important, sales tax revenue. To the city, that's our city portion. It's going to generate lots of jobs and, again, revitalize that part, I think, of the mall. Next slide, please. I think I should gross. I want to talk about all this stuff. Look at this restaurant, though, 65 employees. 65 employees. The Silver Dragon, I think they were running it with 2, closing in there. So, it's important, and this is why, we have new businesses coming. This is why we revitalize, this is why we focus on this stuff. Next slide, please. South Hills Plaza, the Dunkin's going in there. They've spent a lot of money in there. If you've been in Tokyo Central, has anyone been in that market? I know I've gone to that market. The market's great. They actually do a great job. They show you how all this stuff, you have no idea how to eat it, how to do it. And it's a great place to go. And the economic benefits there, and just the whole revitalization of that area. I know a lot of people talk about having 2 quote-unquote donut places next to each other. These are completely different donut places, that we're talking about. And actually in Whittier, there are 2 donut places in, next to each other that are similar, not similar, but like a Dunkin' Coffee. and then a regular sit-down donut shop, and they're still there. So, but again, it's not the city's job, I think, to decide who wins and loses. It's you guys. Which donuts do you like? Right, officer? No. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. A couple of developments. Chick-fil-A is in the process of wanting to put a Chick-fil-A where the old Elephant Bar was. They'll have 2 drive-through systems, you know, looks like that they can handle 29 cars at a time, something like that, as they get through the process. And that's going through. They had a community meeting, and my son said if I bring a Chick-fil-A, then I'm his dad, you know. So that's good. But they want to come in, and Chick-fil-A is the kind of place that attracts people to your city, believe it or not. People drive to Chick-fil-A's. And so, you know, that'd be a great addition, and we'll see that soon at the council level at some point. That's a picture of the mall. The mall is owned by a company, Starwood, and actually, if you've been reading the papers, you know, they've been able to work some magic in the bond market, and they're going to be on our next meeting agenda. We'll be talking about going into an exclusive negotiating period with them about our properties that are owned at the mall, because they want to do a complete revitalization of the mall and do lots of different things there and make it first-class mall future. So people that are worried about that, we're going to be entering negotiations. Well, I assume if it passes. I never want to say something's going to pass on our council, for sure. But that's something that's going to be exciting as we deal with that process and work with them on what they want to do there at the mall to bring people in and at least, right? No, there's a restaurant coming in there. Can I tell them? The new restaurant that's coming in there? Can I not? Can I tell them? No, I can't. You get a new restaurant there too, but I can't tell you what it is. So anyways, yeah. Sorry, but you can call them all later. You know, and there's another restaurant that's close to coming in there that I think people will be excited about. And I'm looking forward to it. If that's a clue, it's good. So next slide, please. But we're really looking forward to the mall. This one you've heard a lot about, the Singapoli project. We've had some touch base with many of the regulatory agencies, and you know, everyone's cautiously optimistic as we deal with the issue of BKK. You know, it's kind of funny. West Covina didn't want to be a dump, so we made ourselves a city and got a dump. But you know, I don't know how the history of that all works out, but they did, and this is our former dump site. And Singapoli, you can see there's lots of different things that were by Big League Dreams there. Just so you know, one of the things about this property is previous city council, they were going to do a golf course there, and they took out bonds on that, and there's no golf course there, but we're paying the bonds out of our general fund. And so $9 million worth of bonds that we're continuing to pay out of the general fund, and some kind of project up there would be wonderful to pay that off. There's different things that are being looked at, with the main things being focusing on a racetrack. I know it sounds weird, racetrack, but Santa Anita, they want to develop some of the property there, and if they can move some of the facilities to another site, it would be beneficial to them, and that's part of the project that they're working on. But it would also have a canine facility, a hotel, right there by Big League's Dreams, which is something that's been talked about previously. And I think it'd be a great addition, but we got to go through all the things to see what's possible there and deal with all the environmental issues there. It's a long project. It's not going to happen tomorrow, by the way. You know, people, when are you going to approve it? It's going to, it's a 5 to 7 year project, probably, at that. And so, anyways, that's one of the opportunities that I think could benefit the city greatly. Next slide, please. Police department. We talked about this, and the reason police department is important. You know, there's some issues here in the state of California, and that's why we're going to talk about that. We're having a community workshop, right, on June 12th on Shadow Oak to talk about, that's the Explorer program, right? We have an Explorer program. If you want to get kids involved, it used to be that police officers used to be reserves. That's where we hired from, reserve officers. But the state changed the reserve program around and made it harder to be in, you know, as a part-time thing. And so now one of our main sources is actually the Explorer program. Because it's nice to get a look at a police officer before you have to hire them and go through all that process. And our Explorer program is very, very beneficial. I'll tell you something about the West Covina Police Department. You know, a lot of, where's Kenny? Where's Kenny? Is Kenny still here? Kenny, there are so many officers that grew up in West Covina, you know, that I handed high school diplomas to, and their families are still here, and that's beneficial to us. And on the finance end of that, you'll hear this stat a lot, that we're the only city in the state of California that has our own police and our own fire that doesn't have doesn't have a utility tax or a sales tax increment. Some people view that as a reason to go get a tax increment. I think that's great. It tells you what our police department's willing to do, and our fire department's willing to do, and that the city has put public safety first. I think that's, without taxing people. And I'll tell you, a lot of cities that have those things go bankrupt. They're out of money too, so they're in the same boat. So but our police department is great, and you have those are sort of crime stats. I do want to tell you, can you have the next slide? The next slide deals with Take Back Our Communities. The council voted to participate in our Take Back Our Community program. There's been a lot of changes with AB 109, Prop 47, Proposition 57, you've probably heard that. It changed a lot of definition of crimes, and it made a lot of things that were supposedly nonviolent that are now, they were supposed to decriminalize nonviolent crimes, but like AB 109 decriminalized lynching. I guess it depends what end of the rope you're on, if it's violent or not. There's lots of different things that they did that they defined as misdemeanors. And one of the things that I think people don't understand about misdemeanors, and this is one of the problems we have when you do a call for service, a police officer cannot arrest someone for a misdemeanor unless they actually witnessed the crime. They cannot do that. So, we'll get calls now for things that they used to be able to arrest people for, but they can't because it's a misdemeanor. And so, actually, Chief Taylor, when he was talking about when he was talking about some of the crime stats, he said that really some of our nonviolent, crimes, we're getting a new baseline because malls don't call us for shoplifting anymore. There's lots of crimes that, just aren't even being reported. So, but we're going to have a meeting about that. That's the meeting we're having on May 29th. That's the Take Back community meeting where people can find out more about that. And there's an initiative that's going to be on our next council meeting to support an initiative that's sponsored by the assistant district attorneys that would recriminalize some of these things that had been decriminalized by the state and by voters. So, next slide, please. Anyone think we have a homeless problem in West Covina? That's probably the biggest complaint that I think I get as a councilman. Now, I'll tell you, having lived here all my life, there's always been homeless people in West Covina. There's always been homeless people in almost every community. But in California, there's been a big spike, not just West Covina. It's a problem that's across the board. It deals with affordable housing. It also deals with, the early release of criminals. It deals with mental health, all those things. It's not a, drug addiction. It's a very complicated issue, and has lots of different things. But you can see some of our stats there. The police department unanimously voted to hire 2 bike officers that deal with parks and deal with a lot of our homeless issues. And you can see those are some of the things that they've done. Look at that, 52 encampments removed. And there's a lot of laws now that didn't exist before about dealing with people's personal property. And we're bringing ourselves into compliance with that to make sure that we have everything possible for our police to do. But you can see those are issues that it's not going to go away. It's a state issue because it's everywhere in the state. But we're dealing with trying to mitigate some of the issues in the community. At the same time, get people help. We have tried to refer people to different facilities. I don't know if you read, but there's $2.5 billion in the state that's been, it's supposed to be spent on mental health that's just sitting there that hasn't been allocated. $2.5 billion. People always say, where's the money? They have it from a specific tax increase, and they haven't spent it. So I know LA County is going to start spending some of that money, hopefully, and hopefully we can get that. The other thing on homeless is there was a initiative approved by the voters in the county that raised the sales tax, that raises money for homeless services. Just so you know, the city of West Covina receives 0 from that, unless the county gives us that money. It all goes to the county. The good news is, I know they're going to hire 600 employees. Those 600 won't be homeless, but I do know that we have to submit a plan, which we have. We had a community meeting about that to try to get some of that money to help serve our citizens and to deal with that. And Lloyd Johnson's actually on a regional commission dealing with homeless services. And so we're very active in trying to deal with it as best we can. Next slide, please. This is not Tony Wu's shop program. This is the City of West Covina's shop program, unless Tony Wu has given a donation I don't know about. Because then I'd be happy to name it after him, depending on the amount of money he writes. But this is a shop local program where we support after school programs through voluntary donations, and we appreciate being able to do that for school districts. And I know we started doing it with Rolling Unified, which is here, So we're trying to do that at least with 3 of the districts. There's actually more districts than that serve West Covina, but the 3 major ones. Next slide, please. Thank you for attending. These are some important things coming up. We have the Easter egg extravaganza. That's my favorite. No. The one thing I want to tell you about is we have where's the active shooter? We have an active shooter community workshop, 6/12. It is sad we have to do that. We did one before, but that's for everybody, anybody, not just school setting, because you don't know what's going to happen, where something like that's going to happen, and things to think about. And so that's on the 12th. That's one I didn't mention. And then we are having a 4th of July program. And this year, it's not going to be at any of the West Covina Unified School sites. We said no. No, they, as you can see, they're doing all kinds of stuff there. By the way, you guys thought about canceling football season? Yeah, that's pretty bold. Okay, because that's what he said. That's what he said. But we're going to be doing it Big League Dreams. Big League Dreams. So that's going to be a good location for it. But you can see we have different things coming up. Take Back Community, the pension meeting. Those are things that we'd like to get people involved in. Please tell people to be involved. And with that, Gary, I just want to thank you, by the way, for being here in West Covina. West Covina is a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. And I'm grateful that I'm able to be here in West Covina and do this stuff. So come on, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Very good. Another trivia fact for me is that it was a glamorous evening, but I proposed to my wife in the parking lot of the West Covina Plaza. Bought her her first ring there. That's as glamorous as it was 37 years ago for me. Hey, we want to thank you, all the presenters. You were fabulous today. The school district, the mayor. Let's give them another round of applause. To all of our elected officials, and Tony Wu, I do think that you're a back to school program. For all of the elected officials that serve us, the ones that are currently there and the ones that are going to run at the next election, let's give them a round of applause. To everybody in here who is part of the service club in West Covina and serves this community, let's give them a round of applause. And then in closing, I just want to tell you what a blessing it is to live, work, or play in the city of West Covina. So go out and make a difference and make something positive happen in this city today. Thank you very much and have a good day.